Hello everyone and welcome to this month's episode of Missing Evans. Today our topic will be child molestation, and then we'll be talking about the remedies. We'll be talking about how it happens and what situations occur and what it is exactly. Today on my show I'll be having with me a guest speaker who will educate us from the medical perspective of this. My name is Hadiza Ada and I'll be your host for today. Today I would like to welcome Ms. Miriam Ada, who will talk to us on this issue. Hi, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
And how have you been?
Great, thank you.
How was your journey and stuff?
This journey was sister's journey.
Okay, first of all, I'd like to talk about what it is exactly before I pass over to her. Actually, according to Child Molestation Prevention, it's an organization basically that supports child molestation. It is when an act of sexually touching a child or making a child do something sexually which they wouldn't do on a normal day. And then a child molester is any adult or any person that touches a child for his or her own sexual gratification. So this happens on a day-to-day basis. Like, it happens every day in our society. It's something that keeps on happening, it keeps on repeating itself. So today we'd like to talk about this. So first off, tell us a bit about yourself.
Hello everyone, my name is Ada Mariam. I am a graduate of Landmark University. I have a degree in microbiology. I love to talk to people, motivational speaking. I'm very outspoken. I like to swim a lot, and I love my culture, especially the food and the music.
I like food as well. I really miss food as well. Either way, so what do you have to say concerning child molestation? From your knowledge, what would you have to say about it?
Well, there's a lot to say because it's something that is happening in our everyday society, and especially the fact that it cuts across so many nations of the world. It's a global issue, it's not a national issue. There is no country as of today which will tell you that they've 100% eliminated child molestation. You can only have in countries which have it at a higher rate and some at a very, very minimized rate. But in actual sense, every country goes through some sort of cases that has to do with child molestation. Yeah.
Okay, so have you had any cases that you could use to vividly explain what it entails exactly? Have you heard of any stories recently?
Oh well, of any cases that I've come in contact with directly, no. I'm a fresh graduate. But have I heard of stories? Yes, very sad stories, very painful stories, especially the ones that are affiliated with family members having to molest their little nieces, their little nephews. It's so painful because you ask them the reason for which they did that act and they don't have any tangible reason. Like, there's so many stories that you hear in Nigeria. My uncle did this, my brother, sisters, whatsoever did this. And it's so common in the society because you want to speak up, and then some people bring up some sort of tradition that will tell you, no, you don't have to blow the issue out of proportion, you don't have to take it to court. For goodness sake, it's a legal issue, you know. If people are aware of the consequences, the penalties of being caught doing child molestation, if they know that the penalties are grievous, I feel it will be minimized. But because we're in a country, we're in a nation where culture is so valued, hey, pardon me, get me right, I love my culture and I promote it a lot. But you know, some legal things have to be set in place in order to be able to eliminate these excesses. Because the more people go into this mischievous act and other people cover it up for them with the whole culture thing, the more we go deeper into it without bringing out solutions. So really, it is something that's happening in Nigeria, and it's not exactly reducing, except of recent, which legal practitioners have okay, set aside certain laws that abide child molestation and all that. So yeah, that's where we are now.
Can you share with us any particular story that you've heard?
Any particular story? Yes, very short indeed. In my secondary school, obviously, I think my SS3, I got told in one of my classmates, his name I wouldn't mention, but he confided in me. Anyways, not really confiding now, we're just chatting. And then he said something. He said that his first sexual contact was with his housemate. And you know, the girl in question was so smart because she knew, she was conscious of the fact that what she was doing was wrong. So she would wait for everybody to go out, his parents, his siblings that were old enough to understand what she was doing. She would wait for them to go out, and then she comes and takes the boy to a corner, to a room, and tells the boy to do things that he shouldn't be doing at his age, of which he doesn't understand what he's doing. He doesn't even know the consequences. He doesn't know. He just knows, okay, and this person is telling me to do this, and he's doing that, of which you put a child at a point where you begin to awaken some hormones in that child. That child is still young to understand. In this case now, he was able to say that when he grew older was when he understood the fact that, oh, when I was a lot smaller, this is what my house girl was doing to me. But he didn't even tell anybody because he didn't even know what he was doing was wrong. And of course, it's because the housemaid didn't do anything hurtful to him. Some people are so mischievous, they're so evil-minded. They do things to hurt the children, especially female children. There's little or nothing you can really do to hurt a small male child. But there's so many things you can do to hurt a female child. So his own experience, his own story was that his first contact, his first knowledge, as far as he can remember, is with his housemaid who was years older than him. That's child molestation. That's child molestation. So yeah, that's one story I always keep in mind.
Okay, so with your perspective and then your knowledge, how does it affect a child? Like what can it do to the minds of young children nowadays?
Oh my days, it affects them in various manners. First and foremost, because like you said, a child doesn't know what he's doing. And most especially the fact that when you start to physically molest a child, as in sexually, I mean now, like I said earlier, you are awakening certain hormones in a child of which that child doesn't need. And when that person is not there to satisfy that urge which you have awakened in that child, what does that child do? He looks for other alternatives. He looks for alternative means of getting himself satisfied, of which he doesn't even understand what's going on. He just knows, oh, I'm feeling funny, I'm feeling like this, I feel like touching this, I feel like touching that. And then you see a child of 12, 13, 14 looking for who to touch. And in most cases, you find out that these are children that have been sexually harassed. They've been molested. Do you understand? And it makes them open. It makes them open to atrocities of life because you expose a young child to what he does not know. He dabbles into it. And the next thing you hear is that the child is masturbating because he can't find somebody to relate his feelings towards. Or you see a girl of 14, she's already pregnant. Why? Because someone invited her, okay, no, come over. And because she too wants to satisfy that, she comes over, and then the person in question has this way, and then you see a 14-year-old girl getting pregnant. That's emotional torture, because what does a child know about child grooming? You as a child, what do you know about child grooming? So it affects a child physically, it affects a child mentally, it affects the way the child will look at some issues in life. And let me take you to this story. I met a friend who encountered a girl, and for some reasons which is very understandable, she feels every sexual approach is going to be aggressive. Why? Because she was molested when she was small. So she doesn't want to see the sexual approach as something of love and romance, but something of torture, something of pain, of which is children. I'm talking about an adult. And imagine way back when she was molested, she still has the memory fresh. That is a lifelong scar, you know. It would take the grace of God to erase such scars. So it's terrible. It leaves one devastated, really, most times.
Okay, so do you what would you suggest a remedy, or how can this be avoided in society today? Like, what's your advice to parents, to young children? Like, what's your advice so we could tackle this issue as a society?
My first and foremost advice would be my basic advice. I always like to tell people on different issues actually. My first advice is educate your child. To the parents, educate your child. Make this child aware, create awareness in the child. You know, at school levels, teachers should create a forum where they have this session with children. There is no, we're in an age where there's no such thing as a child is too young to know this. My only advice is that you restrict your information and the way you relate your information to that child. Obviously, there are certain things a child of 10 doesn't need to know. There are certain things a child of 5 doesn't need to know. There are certain things a child of 15 needs to know, but to a certain level. Do you understand? But to now totally blow out a child of knowing about these things that happen in society today is wrong. For instance, you have a female child, you have a male child. From 5 years old, you start telling them, oh, Tola, oh, this, whatever the name is. If uncle touches you like this is wrong. If auntie touches you like this is wrong. If uncle is telling you to come to a corner, don't go there if nobody is there with you. If uncle is making you do things that mommy doesn't tell you to do, come and report to mommy. And the parents should create time for their children. These children are gifts from God. They shouldn't be a burden, you know. So creating time for your children helps them to know, helps you to understand them better, helps you to know the challenges they're facing. When you interact with your child, you're able to know, okay, what did you do today? What's your day-to-day activity? Who did you speak with? Who did you play with? Thereby, when
You're so silly.
when you know a child very well, it helps you to be able to trace if there's certain problems in that child's life. You should be able to check your child, you should be able to talk to your child, you should be able to interact with your child. And basic information, let schools create a forum whereby there should be sex education. A child from 5 should be able to understand that nobody should just touch me anyhow. Nobody should just tell me to touch them anyhow. We're in that modern age, we're in that world, so let's flow with the tide, you know. Let's educate these children. That's my basic advice. Educate your children, make them understand, make them aware of exactly what the society is like today. Prepare them for the challenges of the society. And you see, we'll start from there. Information is key, you know. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. So yes, that's my basic advice. Educate these children, make them aware, give them the consciousness of the movement of what's going on in our society today, and you'll see changes.
So basically, as a society, we should try to educate the children. Like, we should actually tell them this is what is right, what's not right. This is what you should allow someone to do to you, or this is what you shouldn't allow anyone to do to you. Basically, that's what we're trying.
And we should inculcate confidence also. Make your child confident of themselves, such that when they're challenged, when they're going through issues, when they're facing certain issues, they should be able to voice out. They should be able to speak up. They should be able to report. They should be able to tell people that, hey, I'm going through this. This person is making me do this, you know. Because when someone is able to voice out, then a step and action can be taken.
Yeah.
But when someone is dying in silence, nobody knows. Everybody just goes like nothing is going on. Of which people are suffering and dying in silence.
That's true. Like,
So
recently,
confidence.
there's one of my friends. We got talking, and then this issue of sex, no sex, and stuff like this, he actually popped up. And then she was able to tell me, oh, that a while ago, when she was about 7 years old, she had an uncle that did this to her. And then till today, she's about 20. She still remembers, but her mom doesn't know.
Imagine.
That's just it. So I think we should put that courage in the young children. We should
Yes.
tell them, okay, if this
Teach your
happens,
children confidence.
if this happens, speak up.
Yes.
Like, if this goes wrong, speak up. Tell us about it. Like, you should be able to talk to us. I think that should be like a stepping stone.
Yeah.
Because if they're not able to say, okay, this is what happened, this is how it happened, there's no
no
way to
action that can be taken. Yes.
nothing. Anyway, thank you so much for coming today to our
Thank
show.
you
And then
too.
I really appreciate it for
Thank you so
educating us viewers in this. Catch us. If you have any comments, feel free to message me, contact me. I'll drop my details under the sketch of this video. And see you next month on our next topic. Have a lovely day.
Bye.